Well, look what we have here. A video titled A Mock AI Value at Scale with Appian and AWS. Sounds about as riveting as watching paint dry in my bog. I mean, who doesn't want to hear about corporate jargon and buzzwords? I can already feel my eyelids getting heavy just thinking about it. But hey, maybe there's a glimmer of hope in this digital swamp. Perhaps they'll reveal the secret to harnessing AI so I can finally get my croaky voice to sing like a nightingale, or maybe it'll just be a parade of overhyped nonsense that leaves me more confused than a toad in a thunderstorm. So grab your snacks, sit tight, and prepare for a journey through the murky waters of tech talk. And remember, if you want to keep this old toad from croaking in boredom, hit that subscribe button before I hop back into the woods.
I can't even imagine the things we'll invent to work with technologies in a completely different and productive way than we've ever even imagined. Medhat Galal, SVP of Engineering, Appian.
Security.
I'm Medhat Galal, the SVP of Engineering at Appian. Sounds impressive, but let's be real. Titles like that are often just fancy ways to say, I know how to use a computer. I hope he's got something more than just buzzwords up his sleeve. Otherwise, this could turn into a snooze fest faster than a rainy day in the woods. Let's see if he can actually deliver something worth my time.
Security is a key value proposition for partners and customers that are building on AWS. And in fact, it is the most important piece of the value proposition. What it means for customers is that they can build generative AI capabilities on AWS using the same security and governance constructs that they know and are familiar with from building any kind of application on AWS.
Appian provides full stack process and low-code development capabilities for our customers. That means everything they need from UI to process workflows, human-in-the-loop integration, data capabilities, document capabilities, and rule capabilities have to all be provided in one stack, batteries included is what I call it. Which is to say that we rely on Amazon Bedrock to provide those full comprehensive AI capabilities all underneath that stack to power the mission-critical applications that our customers do. Between the reliability and the capability and the pervasiveness of what the Bedrock...
All right, we're talking about Amazon Bedrock now. Sounds like a solid foundation, but let's hope it's not just a fancy name for a glorified tech gimmick. If it's as reliable and capable as he claims, maybe there's something worth paying attention to. But I've seen enough overhyped tech promises to be skeptical. Let's see if they can back it up with something real instead of just fluff.
Bedrock platform provides us. We're able to deliver on those mission-critical capabilities, AI needs that the customers want, all in one stack.
In order to make generative AI something that's real for customers, it really requires bringing together foundation models with customer data and doing so in a secure environment, and scaling out applications that service customers requires reliability and security and global scale and the other value propositions of AWS. So you cannot simply bring a proof of concept into production. A proof of concept to move into production needs to be deployed in a secure and reliable environment, an environment where businesses can build and deploy generative AI applications at scale in ways that actually bring value to end customers.
Finally, we're getting to the crux of it, bringing value to end customers. It's about time someone mentioned the actual people who will be using this tech. If all this fancy talk about generative AI doesn't translate into real benefits for customers, then what's the point? I'm all for innovation, but it better not be just another shiny toy that doesn't deliver. Let's see if they can actually make it worthwhile.
One of the areas that has been moving incredibly fast, both from the old deep learning capabilities all the way now to multimodal generative AI capabilities, is intelligent document processing. Lots of our customers are in highly regulated space. There's customer onboarding in banking, insurance underwriting, pharma, prescription ingestion, prescription generation, claims processing and approval. They're all documents, and they all come from scanned versions, they come in pictures, they come in PDF, and they come multi-format. Typically, humans have to read these documents and copy-paste that information. With generative AI, we've been able to take it to a completely new level of accuracy, where it's part generative AI, but it is certainly controlled at the process level. They get to decide when they want to move a process along. They get to decide and control if the AI has generated the right information, and they get to comply with the regulation that the human has approved this document to be further processed. That's very important to provide the customer those 2 or 3 or 4 capabilities from development all the way to business process. All
right, now we're talking about the journey from development to business process. It's about time we connected the dots. If they can actually streamline this transition, it could save a lot of headaches for businesses. But let's not get too excited. I've seen plenty of grand promises that fizzle out faster than a firefly in daylight. If they can deliver on this, it might just be worth the hype.
All-in-one platform has been a game changer for us. One of Appian's largest insurance underwriting companies has been able to increase the accuracy of policy underwriting code slips extractions from in the mid 50% range to 90% thanks to generative AI powered by Bedrock. The multimodal capabilities that are offered through that platform allowed us to work with the customer very closely to figure out the complexity of these documents. These are not templated documents. They come in so many variations they cannot control. Shrinking the insurance underwriting process from them, from maybe days to minutes with that level of accuracy has been a game changer for them that they perceive will actually save them millions of dollars.
For customers that are building use cases with sensitive information, the most important aspects of deploying a generative AI solution are really around trustworthiness, which includes the security and privacy of a customer's information. And
now we're getting to the nitty-gritty: trustworthiness, security, and privacy. If they can't nail these aspects, all the fancy tech in the world won't mean a thing. Customers are right to be concerned about their sensitive information. If they can prove that their generative AI solutions are secure and trustworthy, then maybe, just maybe, they'll have something worth celebrating. But until then, it's all just talk.
AWS has a number of constructs that enable a customer to have a secure and trustworthy experience with generative AI. AWS's approach has really been built from the ground up to enable businesses to bring generative AI experiences all the way into production. And this is the year where I think we're going to see a lot of customers move from that proof of concept phase into a value generating application that they bring to their end customers.
Where we see this going is a new area of investment called Appian Composer, which is a much higher abstraction layer. Imagine just as you interact with a prompt, you give it a requirement, build me a healthcare approval application, and we will build the entire Appian soup to nuts, process to data to rules, all at your fingertips that you can see the artifacts of the application being born.
Now we're talking about building applications from the ground up with ease. If they can actually deliver on this Appian soup to nuts concept, it could be a game changer for businesses. The idea of having everything at your fingertips sounds great, but let's see if it's as simple as they make it sound. If it works, it might just save a lot of time and headaches, but if it's just another overhyped promise, well, I'll be rolling my eyes harder than a toad in a rainstorm.
Being born right before your eyes. And as a business user and an Appian developer, you get to validate, is this the right construct for the application I want to build? And you're able to increase the speed way beyond 20x to build those applications. So that security kind of table stake and then the speed of development all the way to production use is something we shrink and make happen for our customers in days by virtue of our partnership versus weeks or months that they would otherwise have to bring to bear on their own. If you think about the evolution curve in the last 1 year versus the last 50 years, it's been exponential. And if you think about how we've interacted with technology over the last 50 years, if computers were here and humans were here, we invented techniques, languages, devices, screens to get ourselves a little closer to where the machine is. Now, when you have AI that is able to bring the machine a little closer to where we are, we've evolved just on language and communication, written, verbal, or otherwise. The fact that it can bring the machine closer means all of these intermediate devices,
Finally, we're getting to the heart of it, bringing machines closer to humans. If AI can bridge that gap, it could revolutionize how we interact with technology. But let's not forget, it's all about execution. If they can make this happen without drowning us in complexity, it could be a real breakthrough. Otherwise, we might just end up with more gadgets that don't really solve anything.
Devices, all of these inventions that we made become obsolete. And then I can't even imagine the things we'll invent to work with technologies in a completely different and productive way than we've ever even imagined.
There's a lot that goes into bringing a generative AI powered experience to customers at scale. And it's a lot more than just using a foundation model or even fine tuning or training a model or bringing data to a model in a prompt. There's a lot that goes into producing an environment that is reliable and secure and architecting a solution that is going to continue to be available for customers under a variety of real-world conditions and protect sensitive customer data. AWS's approach has really been built from the ground up to enable businesses to bring.
Here we go again with the built from the ground up spiel. If AWS has truly crafted a solid foundation for businesses to leverage, it could mean smoother sailing for those trying to implement generative AI. But let's not get carried away. Talk is cheap. If they can actually deliver on this promise, it might just make a difference. Otherwise, it's just another shiny pitch that fades into the background noise.
Bring generative AI.
Well, that was a delightful dip into the swamp of corporate jargon, wasn't it? We wandered through buzzword marshes, slogged through the quicksand of promises, and emerged somewhat muddied. At the other end of this tech-tinged rabbit hole, I came in expecting to be bored to tears. And lo and behold, my eyelids didn't droop entirely. Progress, I suppose, from Medhat Galil's fancy title, which probably means he knows how to turn a computer on, to Amazon Bedrock's solid although suspiciously catchy name. It was a whirlwind of abstract claims and hopeful forecasts. They might have hinted at actual customer benefits, which is a nice shift from the usual look how shiny our tech is sales pitch. But let's be real, folks, if they can't deliver on all the talk about security and usability, we might as well be watching paint dry back in my bog. So here's the truly loaded verdict. If they can turn all this verbose fluff into something tangible, maybe, just maybe, they'll have a nugget of value worth celebrating. Until then, I'm still holding my breath, hoping for less nonsense and more substance. Remember, if you enjoyed watching this grumpy old toad wade through the mud with me, do yourself a favor and subscribe. Hit that like button before I hop back into the woods, and trust me, the forest is far more entertaining. Now, if only they could harness AI to make all this as entertaining as a night of toad karaoke, but I won't hold my breath. Until next time, keep questioning the hype, it's what keeps the slime away.